All right, guys, welcome to the Portable Success Podcast. Today with me, I have the amazing Dani Barker. Dani, I
Hey.
have known for years now, and if there was anyone who was going to be the first person on my podcast that's not just my voice, it was going to be this lady right here. So I've got so many setups at the minute. I've got recording just audio, recording film, recording something else to get it all. Dani, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone on the podcast?
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm Dani. I've known Em for a lot. It feels like years. We haven't created content together for a while. I think our last long kind of episode like this was probably over. Is it 1 year or 2 years? I think it was the summer before last.
So do I.
I know, right?
And that was the first time we did it.
Yeah, that was. So little like long story short, I recently graduated from university as a biomedical scientist, but threw that right out the window. I've pursued freelance photography, videography and graphic design, and then I turned that into a social media marketing and consulting agency. My company is called Social Source, and I help service-based business owners, so like personal trainers, therapists, all sorts of amazing people that help other people to grow their brands and grow their businesses using social media. That is what I am all about.
That's awesome. And then essentially, like with me, I try and teach people as much as possible to be able to make a more passive income, as well as keeping a full-time job for security reasons. You do something similar, don't you?
Yes. So a lot of the coaches, therapists, and business owners that I help, some of them do have part-time or full-time jobs outside of their business, and the whole goal, the ultimate goal behind it all, is helping these business owners achieve that freedom for themselves, so they can go full-time in their business and just thrive.
Yeah. And then you probably agree with something like me, like, because we're teaching people something that's essentially on a free platform, because obviously you've probably had it before, but I've had it where people are like, well, if I can learn it for free, why would I pay you? And for me, it's more kind of like, yeah, but you don't know the ins and outs of that platform like I do. Like, it's really weird to go onto Instagram and not just look through it in the sense of entertainment.
Yes, I can't remember the last time I ever went on social media just to scroll through random things like most people do. And I think it's, once you develop that analytical and strategical mindset, it's a very different place to be. But like I said, I was a biomedical sciences student. I didn't learn social media. I didn't learn photography or graphic design at uni. I learned everything that I know. I started off learning it for free because YouTube is the best education system there is right now. And as I went along, I invested in a couple of mentors, a couple of coaches for myself, but the majority of it is things that I've absorbed. And it takes a certain type of person to do that, because if you're learning for free and you're learning just off your own back, you've got nobody holding you accountable to that. If you decide to quit, you don't lose anything. It's not like you paid £1,000 to have a coach. It's totally like up to you. And I think that's where a lot of people, that's a make or break kind of mindset there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because for the 3 years I've been doing this, for the first 2 years, I refused to invest into anyone, because to be honest, I actually thought they were scam artists, because I was like, if you're saying that this is so easy, why can't I do it? I'm such a hard worker anyway. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. And then funnily enough, I invested in my first mentor, and then I was like, well, actually, they've explained it in such a bite-sized way that I don't have to spend 3 months learning about it, then 3 months trying to implement it, and then maybe some results will come out on the last the 3 months after that. Like, I was actually able to just bite-size it, get it into practice, get working on it, and then every time I kind of deviated away from the plan, I was kind of sitting there going, well, you've just paid £1,000 to learn about Facebook ads. You might actually want to just do it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. And it's really important if you're a freelancer or you're a coach of any kind, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, it's a bit of a paradox there. Like, how would you expect your clients to invest in you if you won't invest in yourself? Investing in yourself is obviously not going to just forward your own development, but it also, you know, ingrains that mindset, like where the value is when it comes to coaching and learning. And I think it's really important to be part of that culture, to invest in yourself, and you will then be able to attract people that want to invest in you better.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, because like it is essentially that way. Like if you, it's like anything. If you want to learn how to like ride a horse or play football or something, if you don't actually go and, you know, buy some football boots and spend time on the field, you're not going to get any better. And I think like there's so many people out there at the minute that are kind of, they think it's so easy until they try and do it, and then when they try and do it, they'll just be like, well, it just doesn't work. And I'm like, no, like that's not how it happens. Like there is a reason that people can make 5 figures a month, you know, like I've made 5 figures a month before, when I couldn't walk. You know, like this was the crazy thing. Like when I ruptured my Achilles, I spent 6 weeks sat on my ass, and I made £10,000 in that time. When I wasn't able to walk, all I had was my computer. I couldn't do my photography and film, which is what I usually would do. I actually just didn't want to sell any clothing, so I didn't even try and do that. And I just sat and stared at a TV and stared at these programs. And I think I spent about £1.5 maybe on. One was a mentor, and I actually wanted one-to-one mentoring with him, and that was only £1,000, which I thought was ridiculously cheap for what he's done. And then £500 was into like a series of Facebook workshops that live webinars essentially. And I sat there and I bought it and consumed it all in like 3 days. And then the second I did that, I was like, right, I'm off. I'll see you later. Like, and I started contacting every single person I knew that I worked for in photography, in film, that had bought clothing, that was like an influencer in clothing, everything that I did. And the tenacity that I had at that point was insane. And like, we're sat in a pandemic right now. And there was like people who were like, oh, Emily, how are you coping? And I was like, this is freaking brilliant. Like, I have been in this position before, but this time I have more freedom, like, because I can walk again now.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was about to say, it sounds like you've had this lockdown before, but this time it's better because you can walk.
Yeah.
So you've practiced this, you've rehearsed this like drive and mindset towards working from home, limited in terms of your creative output. You know, everything's got to be created at home, in the garden, or if you're out on a little walk. So you've actually been more limited than this.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people are in this situation. You know, they can walk. They're at home, laptops, TVs, phones, social media. The only thing that is limiting people right now is their attitude, for sure.
And it's like something that we said before is like, this is the time to learn a new skill if you wanted to. Like, if you wanted to learn something as simple as the Instagram algorithm or basic Facebook ads, because that's what I've been pushing in the last like 3 days, and people have been like, honestly, jumping on me so much, being like, teach me how to do this, teach me how to do this. And I was like, this was very simple. I mean, I learned this obviously back in October when I couldn't move, but I was like, this is very simple stuff. And if you go onto the internet, if you look hard enough, you can actually find it, but they won't say it in the way that obviously I would say it, which is literally click here, click here, and put that much money into it and you'll see results. And
Yeah.
like, learning skills right now is so high. Like for me, I've been going back to photography and film and spending so much time on I don't know if you've used it before, but it's called Stack Skills, and it's like a big online thing, and they do like Photoshop courses, Lightroom courses and stuff like that, because I wanted to tweak up on my photography game for when we open up again. I took an amazing picture, I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, of Sorrel's eyes.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like I've never spent more time on a photo, but I just implemented everything that I'd been learning, and I just turned around to Sorrel and was like, just stand there please and let me take a photo. And then I made that out of it, and it was insane. It was great to do. Like, this is the time to learn a new skill.
Absolutely. I am really excited about like it used to be more of an entrepreneur kind of mindset, the mindset where you just go out of your way to learn and develop and take courses and read blogs and things. That used to be kind of like a minority kind of activity because everybody else was in full-time jobs or not taking personal development all that seriously. But I'm seeing at the moment a huge like wave where it's becoming more of a majority kind of attitude, and it's really, really exciting. And I'd just like to insert one little point is we've been in lockdown for about 4 weeks already.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of, posts on social media about how important learning is and how important productivity is. And I know that not everybody's actually jumped on this wagon yet. And a lot, they shouldn't be shamed for that. Like, just because you haven't jumped on yet, that's absolutely fine. We've all taken different amounts of time to adapt to this situation. I had a meltdown for about, like nearly a week when we first went into lockdown. I was not productive at all. It's the complete opposite of how I roll. And that was fine because after I adapted, I found my flow again. And if you haven't found your flow yet, it doesn't mean that you won't. Everybody will take different amounts of time, but getting to like a productive and driven mindset is really important. But don't rush too hard, otherwise you'll fall off the wagon again.
Yeah, like I find it funny picking up on the whole when you're saying entrepreneurial mindset. This is what, like, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, so many online influencers were pushing. That is the 7 p.m. till 2 a.m. crew. Like that was when people worked, and then that's why when the whole lockdown happened and stuff, and I really felt for people, because essentially if your entire routine is just being thrown up in the air and then just left to, I don't know, fall in pieces in front of you, if they didn't have that mindset before, it is difficult to just turn around and be like, cool, I'm an entrepreneur now, I'm going to read 10 pages of a book a day and all this kind of stuff, because we are habit creatures. Like, everything is formed by habits. And now, as you were saying, you're getting people who are starting to get a hang of those habits, but that's because that's how long it takes. It can take anything between like 30 to 60 days to be able to form new habits. So for people like us, I've been able to go, okay, fine, I've lost some clients, this has happened, that's it. I'm just going to invest into myself. So I've just taken the time that I would spend on someone else and just put it straight into myself. But I've been doing that for the last 3 years. So every time I lost a client, I'd have the exact same mind frame anyway. So like, I love the fact that you've put the whole entrepreneurial mindset, because to be honest, I've never liked the word entrepreneur, because I just think it's just people. And I don't think you need to be an entrepreneur. I think you just have to find which way works for you.
Absolutely.
If that means, like, I read, as in listen to reading, all the time, absolutely all the time. So I can like consume about 3-4 books a month, but I have about 10 books next to me, and I really want to read them, but I never pick them up because I don't physically like sitting still and reading. So I'd much rather have it in audio form. That's how I've made that section work for me. As in, some people like to sit and read a book and they don't like listening to it. And I think like that could be classed as another new skill. you know, finding out what works for you, because I'm pretty sure like we work in practically the same industry, and if we were to sell the same product, we wouldn't do it the same way, because we do it the way that we know how to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now's a really good time to experiment. Find what way of learning actually works for you. Do you like reading? Do you like listening? Do you like watching videos and webinars? There's lots of different types of content that you can consume and actually find something that works for you.
Yeah, and this kind of leads into like the next point that we wanted to discuss, and it's kind of like making the best out of a bad situation. Because I remember at one point, it was probably only about a year ago, that me and you were both in a similar situation where we just were working a lot for nothing. And if you really think about it, I don't know if you've had the realization, but I know I definitely have, is that I was working so much for someone else and not getting any sort of benefit from it. And I'm not saying that I wanted someone to hand me like £4,000 on a plate, you know, there was no fulfillment from it anymore. And I was like, and this was an industry that I freaking love. Like, I love making content. I love like, I spend probably an hour a day just looking at analytics, because that is literally my jam. Like, I love watching analytics. I love seeing it go up. I love seeing it down, and I love seeing why it's gone down and where it's gone down, and then being able to like reconvert it. I don't know if you're like that, but numbers to me is amazing.
Yeah, no, I do definitely know what you mean there. It wasn't that long ago I was in that position, actually. Not even like 6 months ago, 7 months ago. I just pivoted my business. My own business was shaping up as a social media consultancy and creative kind of agency, but I still had a few older clients on board that like I started working with them as a student. I was passionate, you know, freelancing. I didn't know my worth, and I stayed in that, you know, same place. I didn't make progress. I was just along for the ride. Initially, I loved it, but obviously, if you're not making progress, if you're not earning enough to live, etc., and it's taking up a lot of your time and mental energy, it does drain you. That passion will drain, which is such a shame. I don't really do video editing anymore for other people, and I used to like love it. I used to live for video editing. And it's not to say that, you know, I won't do it again, but I had that passion drained out of me last year. And it is hard. So if, you know, you're still offering your freelance services, or if you're a coach even and you're offering coaching services, just because we're in lockdown, it doesn't mean that you're worth less. You know, you might have to change the kind of services you offer. You might have to learn some new things, but do not ever let your time go for less, and make sure that you're valuing yourself enough to maintain that passion. Because if you begin to resent it, you're like, oh, another this project, only going to get this much for it. Oh well. That is the beginning of the end. Something needs to change.
And I remember that distinctively, because I remember for probably about 2 times that I'd visited you in that period, before the 6 months and after, and every time we talked about it, I was just like, you're worth so much more than that.
Therapy sessions in my kitchen.
Yeah, it was, but it was like me, you and Dan, and we were all sat together, and I remember you just telling me like little things, and it was more the way that your whole body changed with it, and then I was like, you're worth so much more than that. Like, I even remember, because I wanted to get it out of you to be like, so here's my proposition. Like, this is how you should be treated. You know, like, this is how, like, I have gone forward with my clients, and some of them didn't like it in the beginning, but then now they appreciate what I do. And also to the point that if they were to take me out of that situation, they would have to probably invest a lot more to get back to the point where I put them, which was the same with you. Like, some people kind of they dub down the fact of like, because we're a content creation agency, you know, like that is what we are, and people dumb down how much creative content can actually tenfold your business if it's done correctly. But in order to get it
Absolutely.
done correctly, you need to invest in people like me and you, who we know what we're doing because we spend every day on it. You know, like we're
Yeah.
continuously in that market. We're continuously watching YouTube to see what's happening on there, what the SEO is saying on there. We're continuously on Facebook ads to see how the funnels are going. Like, you know, I've had to teach myself a whole lot about copywriting and how to write to sell without actually selling, which is a crazy concept. But people don't understand that. And they're just like, well, if you're just going to edit a picture and write some words, then I don't see why you're worth £1,000 a month. And I'm like, yeah, but if you were to make £6,000 a month off that one singular ad, and in the total, you've only paid £2,000 for not only me, but the money to go towards it, and you haven't had to lift a finger yourself, then you've made £4,000 in a passive income.
Absolutely. And it's really important, like as creatives, if you're a creative yourself, I know that I've probably got at least 5 figures worth of equipment. I've got 5 years worth of experience, knowledge, practice, and I know that lots of other creators out there probably have more than that, to be honest. And that doesn't come for free. You
No,
know, that doesn't come for minimum wage.
no.
There's so many things that you need to remember when you're, you know, offering people your services. You've got equipment, you've got experience. Like people that are setting up online businesses now you've got to pay for a website. You might have to have somebody help you design it. You might need to invest in the premium version of Zoom so that you can actually talk to people for more than 40 minutes.
Yeah.
If anything, running an online business is actually more costly than an in-person one sometimes. Advertising, social media, do you need a coach for that? It's quite an expensive thing. And there's so much value, but you've got to look beyond that surface layer of, oh, just posting to social media, because it's like an iceberg. There's a little bit on top, but there's like a mountain underneath.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into absolutely everything, and it is hard to do on your own, you know. And that's where teams come in, and agencies come in, and coaches come in, and
Yeah.
creatives come in. It's a team effort. If you think somebody's killing it on social media or on an online business, they're absolutely not doing it alone.
Yeah.
So don't put that kind of pressure on yourself.
100%. Like I 100% agree with that. And then that's what makes it funny, is when people are looking at Gary Vee and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, Gary Vee's amazing. Gary Vee has 19 photographers and filmmakers. 19. One man, 19 people. Like that is his creative people. And then people are like, well, it's easy to post 3 times a day. And I was like, well, it is if you have 19 people working on it. Like, and that's why sometimes it baffles me when people are like, I really want to scale. And I'm like, cool, we like that. Like, scaling is good. And then they're like, but I want to do it on my own. And I was like, well, I can tell you honestly, you're going to scale to this point, and then that's it. It's like, so if you want to have that sort of accountability and that sort of kind of reach, cool, you do that. But then you're always going to stay in that bracket.
Absolutely. And it works the other way too. If you've worked with a team before, or at least with like another creative or coach, you do scale, your output does go up. And then when you lose that partnership, your output goes down. I've seen a number of clients, obviously, I never ever want any of my clients to rely on me forever, because that's not my objective as a teacher, as a mentor. But I have seen people that have come and they've gone, and unfortunately, they have gone backwards.
Yeah.
Because if you're not a creative yourself, it's very hard to maintain that kind of output. Again, coming back to the value, if you're a creative and you're offering another business owner your services, they might not have a high-speed laptop. They might not have the right programs to edit their videos, etc., etc. So when they decide to go it alone, no, they're not going to be, producing that content themselves anymore. And it is a shame.
Oh, it's a massive shame. Like, a massive shame. I hate seeing it. I hate seeing it when it happens. And it's just, sometimes though, I do sit there and I'm just kind of, it's one of those things. If they're trying to like reap in the costs, it's like, I can understand that, but then I'm also like, time is such a valuable asset that we should be using it wisely. So like, I remember when I had a few too many clients, I don't know, I think I had about 7 at the time. And then I contacted you and I was like, Dani, do you have any time to take off part of this load for me? And you said, I can do X, Y, and Z. These are my prices. And then I was like, brilliant. I would much rather pay you to do that so I can focus on everything else that I need to do for that client, instead of doing a shoddy ass job on one part of it and rushing part of it and maybe staying up till like 2 a.m. and waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. I essentially paid you for time to give back to myself.
Absolutely. Outsourcing, you don't have to be a huge agency to outsource. I actually still work part-time in a media and marketing agency. I'm also contracted to the Emerge Elite team as well on. Yes, I am. Oh yes, wore the right t-shirt today. But you don't have to be part of a huge team or huge company. This is something that you can actually do even if you've just got a few creative friends. Yeah. So for example, I used to do a lot of video editing and photography, but I had clients approaching me for quite complicated website development. And I always, was totally transparent, because taking on clients that you can't serve fully is a no-no. Don't take every job offer that you get. But if somebody asks for a complicated website design, I'd say, look, I know how to build websites on Squarespace and WordPress because that's what I've got. But if you'd like something a bit more custom or a bit more complicated, here's 2 or 3 of my friends that actually do website development. Highly recommend them. Drop them a message and tell them that I passed your details on. And you can make little arrangements between yourself and your other creative friends where you can actually cater for all of a client's needs, but as a team. Yeah. That's not only good for, building trust and a reputation, but your friends will also do the same to you. If a website developer has a client that would actually like a few videos edited for their website, oh, I know my friend, is a video editor and they're going to be the perfect person to help you. Referring each other on is a really good way to, expand your network and build your business. Yeah, it's not a, one-man band kind of thing. It doesn't have to be. You can still be a team and grow together.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like with us too. Like, I remember saying to you when I did the content creation day for Emerge Elite, I was petrified of it anyway. And then I didn't want to have to spend my entire day worried about trying to film it and take photos, because the whole point was to produce content for other people. And I didn't want to focus on that. And I remember saying to you, and I was like, I'll pay you, it's fine, like, come down to London, please help me out. You came down for free, you only got a Nando's out of it. But then that's why now I was looking into another photographer filmmaker to essentially help me with content for the brand, and then we contracted you into it. We were just like, right, okay, cool, you are now part of the team. Like, and it's like, because we've been working with each other, doing free photo shoots, podcast episodes, helping each other out with like different parts of our own businesses. So like I said, when I needed help, gave it, I was like, Dani, help me out, please. And then it's been the same back. You know, we see every time I'm in the area, I come and see you because I'm like, you know, I've got to make sure that I get my time in with Dani and Dani. And then and it's moved on from there. And I think, you know, that's such an importance of having the relationships with that. And like as you said, I don't think you should be a one-man band. I was a one-man band for such a long time, and I think it was mainly because when I delegated, it went wrong, and I'm such a passionate person in what I do, I couldn't handle it going wrong. But then all I realized that I had to do was build a relationship with those people. And I don't know about you, but I take that into every client that I go into. So even my clients now, I will ring them up or text them or something and just be like, I hope you're okay. How's your fiance? How's the dog? You know, like, and build that relationship with them. So it's not just they're handing me over money every single month, but they actually have a relationship with me that they know if they need anything, I'm here. And that's my job. And I think because we work in the social space, but also the online space, that is so much more important because they don't see you.
Yes. And that's the case for everybody right now because nobody is seeing each other in real life. And one sort of mindset, one attitude that I've been sharing with everybody, my clients, my followers, everybody, is after this whole pandemic has, you know, gone away, people will remember who showed up, who supported, who was there for them during this hard time. And even if, you know, your income's gone down, you haven't got as many projects, if you're still getting out there, you're still talking to people, supporting people, collaborating with people, even if you are earning less right now, keeping up that good rapport and that good reputation is just going to help you, like, you know, take off as soon as we're allowed out again. Because everybody that you're talking to, your followers that you're still posting for, they are going to remember, yes, this person, they were here for me when I was having a hard time. And you're going to become the first person they think of when they think of what you do. And that is where your first projects and first clients are going to be coming from after this lockdown.
Yeah. So to wrap this podcast up, I want you to give the audience, mine and yours, 3 tips that you should be doing in this pandemic right now.
Cool. Quick fire, 3 each.
Yeah, 3 each.
Okay. Number 1, do not pressure yourself to be the most productive person ever if you were never the most productive person before. Yeah. Build those habits day by day and do not beat yourself up if you get it wrong one day. Try again tomorrow. Tip 2, get involved in this huge learning culture. There's Skillshare, Stack Skills, Udemy, YouTube. There's loads of different websites, loads of different types of content, loads of coaches and mentors like myself are publishing free content on social media every single day. So get involved, show up to social media with that mindset and really just absorb the things that are going to drive you forwards, because when you put them into action, you're going to be leagues ahead when we're out of lockdown. And number 3 is use some of this time to be creative for yourself. You might have less clients or less projects to work on, but give yourself some projects to work on. You know, is there a type of photography that you want to try? Is there a type of video that you want to make? Have you got some equipment lying around in your, you know, on the shelf that you haven't used yet? Now is a really good time to expand your skills, practice new things, publish content that might be new or different to what you've posted before, and really sort of flex your creative muscles. Again, these are all incredible things that you're going to be able to bring to your business and to your clients out of lockdown as well.
Brilliant. So mine are quite similar to yours in a way, but I'm going to try and deviate a little bit so it's not exactly the same. Number 1 is I would probably say try and do something that keeps yourself active, not just mentally. So like, I know we're allowed to go for a walk and stuff, but maybe just stretching out in your house, or you know, you can use anything from a couch to a bed or anything like that to do like dips and stuff like that, and just keep your body active, because you don't want it to go stagnant. Because the first thing that happens, or at least for me in simple psychology stuff that I've learned, is that if your body feels stagnant, it keeps sending those messages to your mind, which is that you can't be asked. And that is what, in this time, it's what you want to stay away from. And I'm not saying we want to keep your brain on fire so you can learn more skills and stuff, just so you can be more present and just not go into sort of that kind of laid back, unproductive mindset, because it's a lot harder to pull yourself out of that. Instead of just, I'm going to go for a walk today and I'm going to walk 2 kilometers and that's all I'm going to do. That will keep you a lot happier in the long run. Number 2 is I would 100% invest yourself into a new skill, like a new skill or a skill that you've already started. So that's very similar to the point that you said. And just because it could be fun, like even to the point, I know a friend of mine has even got into Twitch. So he loves gaming and now he's just doing it on Twitch. And I was like, that's so cool. And he's like, I've got 5 followers. And I was like, good for you. Like, we're not looking to get 10,000 followers in the next 2 days, but just do something that just, for you, that's a new skill, because, you know, you're going to have to talk to an audience as well as playing a game. It's kind of that sort of thing. And the third and final one for me is always 100% stay kind to yourself. So if you are having an unproductive day, if you just don't feel like it, if you're just feeling a little bit sad and you have no reason, there is no logical reason, because I know I'm such a logical person, it frustrates me when I just have a bad day. Just be kind to yourself, because it's not permanent. It's just, this entire pandemic's not permanent. It's horrible, and we're, you know, I work in the medical profession anyway, as you know, you studied it. Like, we know what viruses are, we know what they do. It's just unfortunate that it's you can't see it, you know. Like, it would be a lot different if we could see it and we could understand it. And for my logical brain, that would make a lot more sense to me. But because I have studied viruses for the last 7 years, I kind of know what to expect, and I know that it's going to stop, and I know that, you know, at some point it's going to go away. And that's why, for me personally, and this is not because of the pandemic, it was actually when I ruptured my Achilles, I just learned to be kinder to myself and stop being so harsh on myself, because it does nothing positive for you. So that are my 3 tips and your 3 tips. Thank you very much, Dani, for coming onto the podcast today. It's been amazing to speak to you anyway. I love speaking to you in general, and I wish you all the success, obviously, with Social Source and stuff. I'm going to put links in the description to Dani personally herself. So if you want to start working with her to boost your social online presence, hit her up. Thank you very much, Dani.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Lovely to have a chat today, and really looking forward to sharing this with everybody, because I think it's really helpful advice, and yeah, I can't wait.
Brilliant. I'll speak to you soon.
See you later.